Roger that, HQ. We'll begin wake-up procedure.
Ship systems, Dart 6.1, initializing.
Okay, it's time to wake up.
This time I'm reviewing Syndicate. Syndicate is a first-person shooter set in the universe of its old namesake. The game doesn't follow in the footsteps of its predecessors, but let's see if it can stand up on its own merits.
Hey, are you in there?
Initializing.
Once again, I will begin with an analysis of the widescreen and multi-monitor support. The default support is fairly good. Pre-rendered cut screens are rendered centered and scaled to maintain their correct aspect ratio. In-game cut screens, however, rendered to a 16:9 aspect ratio when viewed on a monitor with a 16:9 or lower aspect ratio. When viewed on something higher, i.e. a multi-monitor system, it renders vertical minus. That said, there are very few of these cut screens, and the only time they're really used are normally to introduce a boss, so it's not a large issue. In-game itself renders natively horizontal plus in all instances, and the heads-up display is also scaled correctly and centered by default. The user interface and menus are centered and correctly scaled as well, giving no real issues once the game is running at a multi-monitor resolution. Despite the game working so well in a multi-monitor system, it's a shame that I have to report one issue that either came down to bad design or apathy. The options menu was created in such a way that it's not possible to select multi-monitor resolution, as the aspect ratio selection doesn't have an others option. As such, in order to get it working, you have to manually edit the environment.cfg file found in the Syndicate folder that the bug has annoyingly placed directly in my documents.
Lily, thank God, if anyone can fix him up, it's you.
We do science here, Jack, not miracles.
And now for the Widescreen Gaming Forum grade. Just to let you know, the Widescreen Gaming Forum has split its grade in two, one widescreen, one multi-monitor grade. With that in mind, Syndicate gets an A for its widescreen support as it has no noticeable issues. However, it gets a B for its multi-monitor support as it requires a config edit to get multi-monitor resolutions working and because in-game cut screens render vertical minus.
Well, Kilo, I see you're in one piece. That's our train. Better dig in. Got a shitload of hostiles incoming.
The game's visual style is going for the clinical futuristic look, with lots of shiny surfaces and plenty of bloom. Overall it works well and fits the theme nicely. I do have one complaint about the graphics, and that's that the game uses a film grain effect. This might work well on a TV or on a dark screen, but on a PC with a light background I saw it immediately and couldn't ignore it. You can't disable it from the options menu, but fortunately you can disable it from the config file. The audio fits nicely as well, with the environmental and the weapons sounding appropriate for the setting. The story is largely told by voice acting, which is reasonably well delivered. The story itself is largely your standard conspiracy theory affair. You can expect twists and betrayals that you'll probably see coming a mile off. Syndicate isn't going to win any awards for plot originality, but that said, the story is the main device used to move you from one linear level to the next, and it does a reasonably good job at that task.
Glad to have you back, Kilo. Let's get you in the chair. Security, go ahead and clean up the proving grounds. Sit down, Kilo. I need your post-mission stats.
The gameplay is the same formula as most other modern first-person shooters. You can only carry 2 weapons at a time, some grenades, and you have a melee attack that will kill with 1 hit. Syndicate tries to mix the formula up a bit by adding something called breaching. Breaching is basically the ability to remotely hack electronic devices. This takes on a number of forms. You can breach objects in the world to extend bridges or open doors. You can breach automatic turrets and drones to make them work for you or to deactivate their shielding. You can also breach chipped NPC hostiles to make their chips explode, their weapons backfire, or to make them change sides for a period of time. You also get the ability to enter an overlay mode. That, for a period of time, slows time down, increases your defense and offense, and allows you to see enemies behind walls. The device that enables all this is called a dart chip. It's fueled by adrenaline, so you can recharge it by killing people and performing other actions. The whole system adds a nice extra layer to the combat, and many situations become a lot harder if you don't use your abilities properly. Others can't be completed at all without use of the breach system. With regards to difficulty, I played the game from start to finish in the hard setting and found the game's difficulty curve was more pointy than it was round, with some parts being significantly harder than others to complete.
Upgrade potential. Kidnapped Aspari soft asset, a very long way from home.
The last thing to mention is the basic upgrade system. At points during the game you can acquire chips from dead NPCs. Once you have done this you can add small upgrades to your own. It doesn't really add much to the game, but this sort of thing appears to be a requirement of the genre nowadays. The single player campaign took me about 6 hours to complete on hard difficulty. The only other mode in the game is co-op, which only expands the game a little. Overall, while the unique aspects of the combat are a fun distraction and the multi-monster support is good, I can't really justify the £30 price tag unless you're heavily invested in the co-op. For that reason, I would say this is a game you'll either want to rent or wait until the price drops to a point that more reflects the content of the game.